Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And today, once again, I'm at the Poolwerx headquarters in Brisbane. I'm joined by Steve Halls, who is the Chief Operating Officer. G'day, Steve. How are you going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for joining us in this one.
Pleasure.
We haven't met personally before, face to face. I thought I've met everyone around here. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So thanks for having us today.
Pleasure.
And we're going to talk about the 5 key things that have made the Poolwerx franchise business what it is today. Now, you did some work on this beforehand because we talked about it and everything, but we're going to also focus it in on more on your points of difference that a franchise partner would see in this type of thing as far as the 5 key things. So let's kick it off. What was the first one we came up with? The first one we came up with was your market leader and brand recognition. So tell me about that, how that fits into one of the key things in your business.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's one of those things where obviously you want to be the number one player in any field, right?
Of course, everyone is.
And
yeah.
it's having that knowledge and that reputation, that experience, where from an after-sales service maintenance program, we're very strong in that area of market leader from a people know of us, about us.
Because 32 years is
32 years in the business.
Long time in the market.
Yeah, 100%. And having that footprint around all of the country with all of our vehicles, service vehicles that float around, and also our retail stores as well. So it's been able to have that area of people know of us.
Yep.
And then they use us for their servicing, so they do it for me programs. And then there's the do it yourself people who want to look after their own pool. They've heard about Poolwerx, and I thought I'll give them a try. And then they come in and they understand the experience, the knowledge that we have, and just that true client service that we give them. So,
and it is interesting because when we were talking off camera before we started, and we were talking about being the number one, being the brand leader, I couldn't off the top of my head come up with a number 2. So that's obviously clearly the way it's worked, but that's 32 years in the market and 32 years of growth and building that brand, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's having all those marketing programs and those strategies that we have that gives us that ability to sort of, I suppose, be the leader, if you like. And when you did ask me, it was like, oh, yeah, well, who actually is number 2? So, there's a couple there that are sort of vying for that spot, I guess. Yeah. But, it's always a wonderful thing to know that, for many years on end, we're the clear leader.
One thing that was interesting that you mentioned, though, was as far as number 2 was the independence.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's touch on that. So you've obviously got your Poolwerx, and you've got some other brands, of course, in the marketplace, as any niche does. The independents are an interesting one as far as competitors go. How does that work as far as you bringing some across to the business as well, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And the independents, as I said, are quite strong because they're very much embedded in their local community. It could be husband and wife team, that type of thing, operating their business, but don't really have all the mechanisms that a system has, from a marketing point of view, from a point of view of being able to offer different levels of support, So, but having them come along, and then there's that extra strategy for them, where they're looking to go, well, I've been here a certain amount of time, and what happens now? So that allows people like Poolwerx to come along and go, well, we'd be interested in looking at, whether or not you would like to come and join us, or whether or not we have a franchise partner that's currently in that area that may be looking to transition and go into a bigger size business. So gives us that opportunity as well.
Absolutely. And I suppose that rolls on to our second point of the 5 key things that have made you what you are today, is that we talk about your growth. So we want to touch a little bit on the growth and talk about, especially through that COVID period and everything there, because and I know people always say to me, I always get people say, stop talking about COVID, but it's such a line in the sand time, I think, to see how brands supported, how they adapted, and how they move forward. I think it was a true litmus test for many brands, that period there. So tell us about growth and everything you've had through across the 32 years as well, but through to the latest period.
It's pretty incredible, actually, because you're right, 32 years is a long time to be in business, and most businesses will see ups and downs and all different things. One of the things, with Poolwerx, we've seen over the years that we've seen double-digit growth year on year on year over all that period of time. I think there was only 1 year that it actually was just under double-digit growth.
Wow.
Even through the GFC, the global financial crisis.
That was the other acronym I was looking for.
That's that point where, we saw impact on most people's lives, right? Especially business.
Yep.
But what we did see was that with Poolwerx, we're such a resilient business because we have that, what we call hub and spoke business, where you have that retail plus the mobile service. It gives us the ability and the agility to be able to reach consumers at different levels. So it's been quite impressive how through that period we've continued to see that resilience in our business. It's a strong business model that gives you that. And then as we lead it into COVID, again, once we got through COVID, we saw what we call in here, we call it the purple patch, right? So it's that piece where people were at home. They were wanting to spend time at home. Well, they had to spend time at home.
Didn't have much choice, did we?
Looking at their pool and thought, I'm actually going to invest some time, energy, and effort and money into my pool, my local surrounds. So obviously being the market leader and all the marketing that we did and the agility, we actually we saw a massive I think it's about 125% year-on-year growth the year after COVID.
Wow.
Just purely because selling equipment, people investing in their pool.
Because it's a multi-layered thing. It's not just servicing, is it? You've got so many other things you're actually potentially putting in to help someone with their pool.
Yeah. Everything you think about your pool, every aspect of, lights, heating, pumps, chlorinators, filtration, all those elements that people wanted to upgrade and have it looking really great. So because they spend a lot of time around the backyard and the barbie and that. So,
so 32 years of basically double-digit growth, give or take a year throughout that whole period. What do you put it down to? Because that's pretty remarkable stability, I'd say. I mean, it's good growth to start with, but it's good stable growth.
Yeah.
So what do you put that down to? Do you think that's the niche? Do you think it's the niche of the pool? So is that more pools in Australia? Is it all part of it? Is it the fact that industry is such a good, strong industry to be in and it's that resilient?
Well, I think from a point of view from us, obviously our resilience, but it's having all that different support mechanism as well that we have.
Yeah.
The marketing that we've done, example, making sure our footprint was strong. We continue to put new retail stores down. We're averaging around 10 to 12 stores a year that go into our business.
And that's good because that's not too fast, but it's not too slow.
No.
Because I get worried about brands that are like, whoa, lightning.
Yeah.
That puts a lot of stress on support and growth and everything in a business.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, it's been very strategic in making sure that, our franchise partners grow within reason, and we're very structured to ensure that they don't accelerate too fast because obviously you want to make sure that it doesn't put pressure on them as a business owner because they've got to be sustainable, and that's one of the things about franchising, right? You have your franchise business that's profitable, which then gives you stability and it allows obviously the franchisor to be stable as well. So
excellent. That rolls on to our third one, which was support of the key things in the business. Support, especially in relation to franchise partners. So tell us about the support. I mean, I include a training facility support as well, right? Because, part of getting into a franchise business is having great training to start with. And if you've got bad training, it doesn't matter how good your support is afterwards. So tell us about the support structure and everything you've got in place and how you've been building that.
Yeah, we've got a few different levels of what there's. Obviously, there's the formal style of support, where we sit with our franchise partners, we sit with our owners, and we have business planning every single year. And it's a very structured process that we look at. And it's built around every individual business. So we don't necessarily throw out a carte blanche general, that's where you should grow. It's a very structured business based on their journey.
I can imagine that's pretty easy to do in franchising, isn't it? To sort of cookie cutter it as far as where you should be.
Yeah, and it's not about the franchisor. It's got to be about the franchise partner or the franchise owner. So it's about where they're at in their journey, the size of their business, their capability to grow, what levels of support they do need, what type of marketing do they require, and especially driving the local area and the community support as well, because that's very big, because that's where we operate. We operate within local communities. So it's how we engage with our franchise partners and how we help them engage in their community, but then give them, as you said, the training here, the facilities here are pretty incredible. It's the initial training, but then it's the ongoing development, the ongoing training of their teams, them, from a financial point of view, all the way through how you recruit people, how you upskill people, and all those different elements of everyday business that not everyone has that experience in every walk of life.
No, I'm interested when we spoke to Andrew Walker earlier about the focus of the business and having multi-site owners, so multi-territories or multi-marketing areas. That must have a real flow through the support. So when you're talking about business planning, I'm very interested to think about the business planning perspective for someone who has got 3 regions and, 10 vans out, that sort of stuff. So how do you change that and how do you adapt that, I suppose, to still give value to someone who's got a business triple the size it was when they started? So how does that work in support?
It's a great question. One of the things that we did...
Sorry if it's too big a question.
No, it is a great question because you're 100% right, because everyone who joins a brand or a business has different skill sets.
Yep.
And our role is to ensure that we give them strength to the skill sets it's not necessarily they do have. But as you're right, as you say, as we grow and as each business grows, there's a different skill set that takes to do that. And it's being able to then, the multi-unit owners that you talk about, it's about being able to give them a higher level of support.
Yeah.
And what we have
I think a lot of brands struggle with this.
Yeah.
From my perspective, what I see.
And it's one of those things where, we understood and identified that our peer-to-peer support program has been monumental. We introduced that about 3 years ago now. And basically what it is we bring a team of like-minded business owners together, like size, like-minded, all those different aspects, and we bring them together and they go away and they spend time together and they talk about all the aspects of their business. And Poolwerx actually don't, we just facilitate the meet. We actually don't give direction or any input.
Stay out of it.
We stay out of it.
Yeah.
But what it does is it builds that, and they talk about their own challenges and they talk about their own ways of how they've built their business and all those, even to the point where they're sharing financial information and all different aspects of growth. And that, along with our regional operations managers who support our franchise partners in field, adapt all that, and then we get a better level of business growth.
Yeah.
And a better level of how you lead and manage bigger sized businesses.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a key thing, that peer-to-peer. It's really interesting that because, I remember being an ex-field manager myself 20 years ago out in the franchises. It gets to the point where a field manager or a territory manager, gets to the point where someone's got a business of some size about what can you teach that person or how can you help them to what level. And peer-to-peer, I suppose they've got a lot going on there. So what's been the response like from franchise partners on that?
It's been fantastic. We've currently got 2 groups and we keep it very small. There's no more than 8 to 10 people.
Yeah, that's great. Which gets too big, it gets too unwieldy, doesn't it? It's got to be very personal.
Yep, 100%. And they share a lot of information in that in those meets and catch-ups. And so we've got 2 at the moment. The response has been exceptionally good.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people wanting to join, so we've had to have to expand
so
the program.
Is it aspirational? Are you putting, at what point can they get into that?
They can pretty much join it probably within 12 to 18 months after they've started in the brand, because they've got to get their feet into the business, right, and understand the brand and the business and the model and everything like that.
You don't want too many rookies in there asking silly questions.
Well, no, but some of those folks bring some really good insights and some good information. Yeah.
Fresh, yeah.
So, but predominantly they're in the business for a little while. And then it's about understanding that it's like a bit of a draft, right? It's just making sure you've got the right culture of fit of people coming together.
Yep.
All like-minded, as I said.
Yeah, and that's a real fine balance, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and the other thing we were going to talk about as far as a key thing into the Poolwerx business model is, I love this one because I'm a marketer myself, as you talked about it and you've referred to it in the notes when you did your homework on this, was a marketing machine on tap. That's a great line, marketing machine on tap. So, you'd have to be to get to, 145 locations and growing like you are with double-digit growth.
Yeah.
What does the marketing look like? How's it structured?
It's quite strategic. But it's quite agile as well, which is what we like. And our marketing team do an exceptional job where not only from a national point where they build our marketing now through all the digital space and all those different aspects that pretty much everyone's in these days. Yeah. But there's also that regional marketing adoption on platforms that we've built out, which then cascades down into the local area marketing. So we've built all these platforms that everything that sort of looks nationally, our franchise partners can access resources, tools, all those things through the appropriate platforms. Yeah. And then they can bring that into their own localized store through local print, through local digital, all those different aspects. So it's very much a waterfall effect, and it's very on point. Yep. And we certainly do create our own little niche around why we are the best at what we do. Yeah.
So with that marketing on tap, so I view that as like customers when you want them, right? So you can turn the tap on and off whenever you feel like it. So what is the primary customer acquisition? So how is that happening? Where do most customers come from who are coming into Poolwerx? Is that seeing vans out on the road? For us, it was personally, and it just happens to be that Andrew's son is our pool guy, which I didn't know,
right,
which is unbelievable. With the one I interviewed this morning with Andrew. But how does that happen? So is it seeing vans out in the road, seeing a van next door mostly, or what do your numbers look like about where the customers come from?
It's a little bit of everything, but predominantly it's the van next door, or it's what we used to call the five-a-side, where we personally be next door and we see someone next door's got a pool through our localised mapping that we have.
Yep.
So we're able to identify, one, where the pools are, but then it's about that introduction and it's that people opportunity as well. So predominantly that's where we tend to get a lot of our referrals from as well. But obviously the DIY market into our stores is rapidly growing as well.
Yeah.
So that's giving us some great client uptake. The beauty of our retail stores is that you can be a DIY person, but then you may go, actually, I need something done, and we then become a do it for me
service. Yeah, I can imagine.
We go poolside, right?
Yeah, you just want, and I suppose it's like any business, any marketing, is you just want that person to spend that first dollar with you.
Yeah.
Get their details, get to know them, and from there, who knows?
Yep, exactly right. So, and then consistent marketing back to them and offering them that value add proposition as well.
Excellent. Steve, well, thanks for telling us so much about the Poolwerx business model again today.
Pleasure. Thank
Excellent.
you.
And that's it again for another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. As I say always, like, share, subscribe to this stuff, please, and we'll catch you in the next one again soon.